Hello, I'm Brian Fox. Welcome to I Hate Rock Music. And in this video, I'm going to talk about a very short-lived but notable band of Johnny Winter's. And a lot of people don't really know about it. It's not very documented, really, per se. And it was loaded with potential. And I wish this lineup had kind of stayed together and expanded a little bit because it would have been a great combination. And that's the group called Albino Kangaroo. And this is a combination of Johnny Winter in 1973 with Peter Kaukonen from Black Kangaroo, who had just put out one album in 1972 on Grunt Records and ended up collaborating in 1973. And it was really interesting little short tour where Johnny Winter had just put out his Still Alive and Well record and had come out of rehab and not only came out with that stunning, pivotal record for Johnny Winter, but also started this short tour with the amps turned down. He wanted to do something a little intimate again, and so he wanted to play some small halls and focus in on blues standards again, and then play at a lot lower volume and not quite the arena rock which Johnny Winter was playing in the early 70s. And so smaller intimate clubs, a smaller rig, and blues standards. And they did a lot of tunes that we've come to expect from Johnny Winter around that period. Good Morning, Little Schoolgirl, Silver Train, Jumpin' Jack Flash, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, but also included the Stones' Let It Bleed, Good Morning, Little Schoolgirl, Silver Train off of the Still Alive and Well album, Dust My Broom, Rock and Roll Hoochie Coo, Hoochie Coochie Man, Rock and Roll with Me, Rolling and Tumbling, and even Matchbox and Walk on Gilded Splinters. So really nice mix of notable Johnny Winter originals and then a lot of really cool blues standards. And the band itself was just a trio with Richard Hughes on drums, Peter Calkin on bass instead of guitar, and Johnny Winter on guitar. And just a basic trio. But where my mind starts wandering is what if that lineup had clicked a little bit more and Peter Kaukonen, a la Johnny Winter and with Rick Derringer, what if Peter Kaukonen had moved to second guitar and they'd added another bass player, and that would have been really something else. So that's the main reason why I did this video. I love the whole idea of Johnny Winter deciding to do a bunch of small clubs using a smaller rig in a little more intimate setting so he could interact with people and then focus back in on a lot of blues standards. I think is great. And I love the Johnny Winter albums that came out in 74 and 75, Saints and Sinners and the like, and definitely more polished and a little more accessible records. But what if he'd actually stuck with Albino Kangaroo um, for an extended tour and then a record. And as I mentioned, the reason why I think about Peter Kaukonen moving over to guitar is he's an astonishing guitar player. Of course, he's Jorma Kaukonen from Jefferson Airplane and Hot Tuna. That's his brother. So he's totally steeped in the blues and a killer guitar player in his own right. And his style would have mixed with Johnny Winter extremely well. I've spent years pushing the Peter Kaukonen Black Kangaroo album. I think it's one of the best records that ever came out in the 70s, and some stellar guitar work and a lot of blues influence, acoustic blues and electric blues. And I just think that it would have been great if Albino Kangaroo had continued to exist, and then Peter Kaukonen brought in his stunning guitar work to complement Johnny Winter. It would have been one of those all-time great bands, and it's really unfortunate that didn't happen. So this lineup of the band literally lasted only a few months, but it's really cool that Peter Kaukonen and Johnny Winter ended up working together. I think they're two kindred spirits, and unfortunately, we didn't get a chance to hear their two guitar uh, styles in playing together because the Black Kangaroo stuff is definitely would fit within the context of things that Johnny Winter was doing at the time. If you listen to Peter Kaukonen's Black Kangaroo album and you listen to Johnny Winter's Still Alive and Well, the possibilities are very self-evident. And so, but that said, we do have a couple of live shows. I remember buying a bootleg about 20 years ago called Albino Kangaroo, and I thought it was just a play on words. I didn't realize that Johnny Winter actually called the band that. And and then we also have, like I say, these live shows, and I'll post one live show below featuring this lineup, and you can see that it was a really cool episode in Johnny Winter's career, and as I've mentioned many times in this video already, really unfortunate that they didn't expand on the possibilities, considering we finally had Peter Kaukonen and Johnny Winter working in a band together. Would have been total magic. So anyway, the link's below for the live show, and for those of you out there who are Peter Kaukonen fans, you'll get exactly what I'm saying. And if there's people out there who are not Peter Kaukonen and Black Kangaroo fans, you really need to get that Black Kangaroo album. For me, one of the essential records of the 70s, and a total masterpiece. So another missed opportunity, but we got at least to taste a little bit of what could have happened. I'm Brian Fox. Thanks for watching. I Hate Rock Music.